Hello viewers, this is the global news on Top Accolade News. First, the headlines. Courts uphold PDP's Rivers West senatorial election victory. NASS promises to be fair to all demands for more states. Federal government may stop customs others from collecting revenues. US accuses China of influencing Nigeria with loans. Details coming up shortly. Court upholds PDP's Rivers West senatorial election victory. The Rivers State Election Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has upheld the election of Dr. Ipalibo Banigo of the People's Democratic Party as the senator representing Rivers West Senatorial District. The former deputy governor's opponent, Asita Honorable, who contested the election under the platform of the All Progressive Congress, challenged the election of Dr. Banigo on the grounds that she did not get the required number of valid votes to be declared winner. He prayed to the courts to declare the February 25, 2023 election, which produced Dr. Banigo as winner over Rivers West Senatorial District as null and void, and announced him winner of the election. The tribunal has dismissed the petition filed by Asita for lacking merit, adding that he failed to prove that the first respondent, Dr. Banigo, did not win the majority of lawful votes and was unable to produce a figure-based analysis of votes cast that proved his votes were higher than that of his respondent. NASS promises to be fair to all demands for more states. As the 10th National Assembly prepares for another round of the review of 1999 Constitution, the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, has assured members of the movement for the creation of Tiga and Gari State from Kano State that the Senate and the House of Representatives would be fair to all. Speaking on Wednesday in Abuja, when members of the movement led by Senator Masood El Jibrin Dogwa paid him a courtesy call at the National Assembly complex, Senator Jibrin, who chairs the Senate Committee on Constitution Review, said the 10th Assembly would give all groups advocating states' creation equal opportunities to present their cases. Wike El-Rufai meets Tinubu over El-Rufai's ministerial confirmation. The immediate past governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, and his Kaduna State counterpart, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, has met President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, in order to discuss the refusal of the Senate to confirm El-Rufai's ministerial nomination by the President. The duo's visits to the President on Wednesday came 2 days after the Senate failed to confirm El-Rufai as a minister designate. The outcome of the meeting was not disclosed to newsmen as there was no official communication after the meeting. El-Rufai and Wike were among the 48 ministerial nominees sent to the Senate for screening and confirmation. Emefiele asks court to stop federal government further prosecution. The suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Gunmen Emefiele, has prayed a federal high court sitting in Lagos to stop the federal government through the Department of State Services from further prosecuting him. In a fresh application, Emefiele, through his lawyers led by Mr. Joseph Daudu, San, is seeking an order of the court discharging him and all charges brought against him by the DSS, arguing that it was in a brazen disobedience of the subsisting orders of the court, granting him bail on July 25, 2023. According to Emefiele's fresh application 6, to preserve and protect the efficacy, majesty, and integrity of the court, as well as the rule of law in our democracy. Meanwhile, the court, which has Justice Nicholas Owebo presiding, will hear Emefiele's fresh application today. On insecurity, gunmen attack Plateau community again. In yet another attack at the Barkin Ladi local government area of Plateau State, gunmen reportedly killed 17 persons in the early hours of Thursday. The spokesman for the Plateau State Police Command, Alabo Alfred, could not be reached to ascertain the development at the time Top Accolade News compiled this bulletin. Meanwhile, the Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has inaugurated a security and information center aimed at facilitating public access to convey security-related information to the relevant authorities for prompt action. In a statement signed by its Director of Press and Public Affairs, Gian Bere, the governor highlighted that the center established by the State Information and Communication Technology Development Agency seeks to bridge the communication divide between the general public and the government. Lawmaker cries out over invasion of Kaduna community. A member of the Kaduna State House of Assembly, Awal Umar Bijimi, has lamented the abduction of his constituents on the floor of the State House Assembly. Bijimi, who represents Giwa West constituency, made the call on Wednesday, stating that bandits frequently villagers in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State by taking advantage of a damaged bridge. According to him, the bandits have erected roadblocks at the compromised bridge to facilitate their criminal activities, which has led to the displacement of residents from their ancestral homes. You're watching the news on Top Accolade News. Please stay with us. Still to come. And thanks for joining us. In business, federal government may stop customs and others from collecting revenues. There may be a major change in the manner some federal agencies operate as a proposal by the Presidential Committee on Tax Policy and Fiscal Reforms could stop the Nigeria Customs Service, Nigeria Port Authority, Nigerian Postal Service, and 60 other ministries, departments, and agencies from collecting revenue on behalf of the federal government. The chairman of the committee, Taiwo Oyedele, disclosed this on Wednesday while speaking with journalists in Abuja. He said the Nigerian Customs Service and 62 other ministries, departments, and agencies are not meant to collect revenue directly. The implication of such a move is that trillions of revenue generated or collected by the agencies will now be collected by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Oyedele also described the Treasury Single Account Initiative as a step in the right direction, but added that initiative has not been fully developed. Dollar goes beyond 900 Naira ceiling. The Nigerian Naira took a huge tumble on Wednesday as it crashed as low as 910 Naira per United States dollar at the parallel market due to panic caused by speculations. With this development, there are fresh concerns that the troubled currency is still far from bottoming out and that it could hit 1,000 Naira to the US dollar in the coming weeks. It will be recalled that the Naira held tightly around 750 Naira to the US dollar 3 weeks into the market liberalization at the unofficial market, even as the worrisome wide market arbitrage cancelled out. But the market sentiment changed in the past 3 weeks as the currency began a free fall. First, it plunged to 800 naira to the US dollar and started a gradual depreciation that took the value down to 880 naira to the dollar last week. Marketers hint that prices of gas rise next week. The president of the Nigerian Association of Liquid-Fueled Petroleum Gas Marketers, Olatunbosun Oladapo, has advised users of cooking gas to brace themselves for price hikes from next week. He said reasons for these price hikes include rising international prices, high tax rates and prices of vessels, scarcity of foreign exchange, and the devaluation of the naira. Olatunbosun described the imminent price increment as unfortunate and stated that some consumers of cooking are already returning to firewood, charcoal, and sawdust for cooking. In environment, the ocean sword threatens Bayelsa State. Governor Doyediri of Bayelsa State has warned that coastal communities in the state are on the verge of being submerged by the Atlantic Ocean. Diri raised the alarm on Tuesday when he visited the Odioma community in Bras, the local government area of the state, to assess the devastation from ocean encroachment. Diri said the state government would commence shoreline protection while awaiting federal government's collaboration, noting that it was beyond the state government's scope to address such challenges in Odioma, Kuluama, Sangana, Age, and other communities facing similar threats. In education, UI gets 1 billion naira for Diaspora Research Center. Reports from the Oyo State capital, Ibadan, indicate that the University of Ibadan has obtained the sum of 1 billion naira for the funding of a Diaspora Research Center. This development was disclosed by the Tertiary Education Trust Fund and the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission (NIDCOM) in a jointly signed statement on Thursday. The two agencies said the move was part of the plans to fund education centers and facilities for Nigerians in the diaspora to foster knowledge exchange, fellowship research, and transactional projects. The chairman of NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri, signed for the commission while the executive secretary of TET Fund, Sonny Echono, represented the fund. And on the foreign scene, Niger's military leaders form new government. The military leaders in Niger, who seized power last month, formed a new government on Thursday. A newly appointed Prime Minister Ali Mohamed Lamine Zehin will lead the 21-member government. The cabinet has the new military governing council heading the defense and interior ministries. No more details of the new government in Niger had been confirmed at the time Top Accurate News compiled this bulletin. Sanusi meet Niger junta leaders, brief Tinubu. Alhaji Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, 14th Emir of Kano, on Wednesday held a meeting with the coup leaders in Niamey, the Nigerian capital, to mediate in the ongoing crisis in that country. The meeting was held as Niger's former rebel leader, Risa Agbola of the Council of Resistance for the Republic, launched an anti-coup movement in the first sign of internal resistance in the country. Sanusi, also a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, met the military leadership after the junta aborted a meeting with the representatives of the African Union, AU, ECOWAS, and a top US diplomat. This Tijaniya sect is said to have a large following in Niger. He met with the military leader, General Abdurrahman Tijan, and other leaders of the junta in the company of the Sultan of Damagaran, the third largest city in Niger. It was gathered Sanusi went to mediate on the way forward with the knowledge of President Bola Tinubu following his concerns about the impasse and the likely consequences it will bring on Nigeria-Niger relations and citizens of the two countries. Saying that he was not an emissary of the Nigerian government, Sanusi returned and went to brief President Tinubu last night at the presidential villa, Abuja, on his findings. ECOWAS meets for key summit on Niger crisis. Leaders from the West African blocs, ECOWAS, are expected to meet on Thursday for an emergency summit on the crisis in Niger Republic. This is following the defiance of an ultimatum given by ECOWAS for the restoration of power to the elected President Mohamed Bazoum. The Economic Community of West African States says it is seeking a diplomatic solution to the crisis but has not ruled out using force to resolve it. Thursday meeting is expected to reach important decisions according to a statement from the 15-nation organization on Tuesday. And away from that, US accuses China of influencing Nigeria with loans. The United States Integrated Country Strategies document has indicated China has the potential to influence the Nigerian government through Chinese loans. This view was contained in a statement originally approved on April 6, 2022, but was reviewed and updated on June 23, 2023 by the United States Department of State. The document said China offered subprime financing for various infrastructure projects in the country. Subprime loan being a loan given at an interest rate above prime for persons, organizations, or countries who do not qualify for conventional loans. Nigeria holds the Exim Bank of China $4.34 billion as of March 2023. Moving on, Ecuadorian presidential candidate shot dead after rally. A leading Ecuadorian presidential candidate in Ecuador, Fernando Villavicencio, was shot dead while leaving a rally in the nation's capital on Wednesday, prompting President Guillermo Lasso to declare a state of emergency and blame the assassination on organized crime. Villavicencio, an anti-corruption crusader who has complained of receiving threats and was murdered as he was leaving a stadium to Quito, government officials said. President Lasso declared a 2-month state of emergency early Thursday following the assassination, but said general elections slated for August 20 would be held as scheduled. He assured that the crime will not go unpunished. The late Villavicencio was the second most popular candidate in the presidential race, according to recent opinion polls. Away from that, and in sports, gallant Super Falcons return after World Cup exit. Players of the national senior soccer team, the Super Falcons, who participated in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, returned to the country on Wednesday. The Falcons were eliminated from the competition following a 4-2 penalty shootout defeat to the Three Lionesses of England in the round of the last 16 on Monday. The thrilling encounter ended in 0-0 draw after regulation and extra time. Some members of the team, including Azizat Oshola, Rashidat Ajibade, Osinachi Chiamaka Nadozie, Gift Monday, and Wafiat Imuron, arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos on Wednesday night. They were received on arrival at the airport by the Nigeria Football Federation NFF board member Fatai Majakudumi, Chairman Lagos Football Association Fuad Oki, and other top dignitaries. It would be recalled that head coach of the team, Randy Waldrum, left Australia a few hours after the team's exit from the World Cup and headed to the United States of America. Moving on, Iheanacho named man of the match in Leicester City's win. Kelechi Iheanacho was named man of the match following Leicester City's 2-0 win against Bolton Albion in the first round of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. Iheanacho gave the Foxes the lead in the 6th minute, backheeling calmly into the net after he was set up by a mark of Brighton's cross. Iheanacho then returned the provider early in the second half, setting up his international teammate Wilfred Ndidi for the second goal. Leicester City will now face Tranmere Rovers in the second round. EPL to scrap mid-season break. The management of the English Premier League EPL may have decided to scrap its mid-season break due to the overcrowding of the football calendar. The beginning of the mid-season break could come into effect in 2024/2025 season, with FIFA's revamped 32-team Club World Cup set to take place in the summer of 2025. The Premier League introduced the break, which this season will take the form of a structured 2-week period in January in 2018 in a bid to ease the workload of the players. The chief executive of EPL, Richard Masters, admits that the issue was being considered due to various inter-club and inter-country competitions that players have to participate in. And that's the global news for today. Before we go, let's take another look at the major stories. Courts have upheld PDP's Rivers West senatorial victory. NAS has promised to be fair to demands for more states. Federal government to stop customs and others from collecting revenues. US has accused China of influencing Nigeria with loans. And that's the news for today. I am Jonathan Kowe. Do enjoy the rest of your day.